Hello, everybody, and welcome into the third round of Eager Saturnalia for North America. My name is D-Sinks, and joining me now is going to be the ever so wonderful Gore Miser. Gore, how you doing?
I'm doing really good right now. We have some really good-looking teams for this next round. One is, I want to say, a bunch of fan favorites, a bunch of names people are going to know. The other side, if you watch Challenges Cup, you will recognize these players, and you'll recognize that they have some pretty decent talent on them.
There's a lot of, it's Slaughter Slugs taking on Team Ego. Slaughter Slugs, they're composed of pretty much entirely high-level CC players, as they're going to go ahead and we're getting into picks and bans. Slaughter Slugs, they're the order team. They're going to ban away Nike with their first round. They don't want to deal with it, and they don't want to pick it, so just get rid of it. But unfortunately for this team of and Terra is going to be taken off immediately by Team Ego. Unfortunately for the Slugs, they're high-level CC players. They're taking on a lot of high-level professional players. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit harder for them. Of course, they do still have that opportunity. I mean, yesterday, we were actually talking about this before we started. We saw Leftovers come out on top. They were able to beat out the teams that were like NRG and go through and kind of get through those Pro League players. So it's not something unheard of, although it will definitely be a challenge for them. Ra going to be taken off the board. And so far, it seems like a very common denominator in at least two of these bans: get rid of the healing.
Yeah, indeed. They want to get rid of Raw, especially Best making an absolute show of things at Super Regionals on this character. Sobek going to get taken off the board by Team Ego. Dingodile is one of the members on Slaughter Slugs, and he loves himself some Sobek. I love myself some Thoth. He's going to be the mid lane mage here, locked in for the Slaughter Slugs.
A lot of damage, some relatively good clear, honestly, because his wall giving him that ability to kind of extend his range on his abilities so he can not have to sit right in the wave. And going up against what he will be going up against, like Best playing mid lane for Team Ego, no matter what Best has, he's easily one of the top mid laners. So knowing that he has to do that, choosing this Thoth is going to be very good. Sylvanaus and Fenrir are going to be locked in. And Fenrir, I think, is actually the one that stands out to me the most there.
Well, Fenrir can follow Thoth through his dash is something that I'm thinking about right here. Also, Homie FA just really likes this character. Homie FA going to be the jungle for Team Ego. He loves playing Fenrir. He's always will pick Fenrir, and Awilix going to be the selection here for the Slaughter Slugs. They're going to look to pull Fenrir out of those jumps, and Bacchus going to be the follow-up, so just give themselves that extra knockup.
Now, Bacchus is going to be fun to watch because he's very aggressive, so I expect to see Slaughter Slugs here kind of push on that aggression, push on that gas pedal, and fight every chance of the way they get. Up against Sylvanaus, he does have that anti-heal going for him in his belch, so that's going to be very beneficial for them. And I think overall, Slaughter Slugs right now, I mean, the draft is looking really good.
Yeah, and Zap's going to actually pick Jing into the Awilix here. So basically Jingwei's way of escaping is to knock herself up and then fly away. And Awilix pulls you out of the knockups. They're going to go ahead and ban away Vamana. They don't want that other knockup on the board. They don't want a strong soul and or go against Baskin. It's just I like Slaughter Slugs draft a lot right now, actually.
You're looking at the bans from Slaughter Slugs right now. Actually, Nike was the first ban. That's just kind of standard. She's relatively strong right now. Ra and Yanis have been picked up there as well, though. Those are shots right at the best. Like, not only is Thoth being locked in, but it seems like Shadow Chair doesn't want to have to deal with whatever the Best is good with. But Best has been playing this game a long time. He's got a huge god pool for mages, and there's another Zeus, so that's a third mage. They're just trying to dwindle that down.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of Best. I mean, Best doesn't play a huge variety of gods. In fact, I think only he brought in really 4 characters once we hit the online or the offline stages of things. Hoi to get banned away by Team Ego. They just don't want to deal with that right now. BaRRaCCuDDa does have a very good one. And there's the other god that Best was playing. It's going to be the Scylla locked in for Team Ego. I mean, Best. Everybody knows MLC still Scylla, but Best also has a very storied career on this character.
Best Scylla is absolutely a monster. We're going to see Tyr on the other side. And right now, there's a lot of control and a lot of knock-up kind of combination to go with this Awilix that Slaughter Slugs have built up. But when you look down, even if you just look at, Sylvanaus, he's not necessarily the highest favored support, but he's got a lot of healing. He's got a knock-up, so that can kind of favor his team just to get that CC down. Fenrir is very good for control. Then you've got Jingwei, who's regarded as one of the top ADCs, and Scylla, who's easily one of the strongest mids right now.
And it's going to be a Chang'e last pick for the Slaughter Slugs here. So they don't have a Hunter, and if I had to put my money on it, that's going to be a BaRRaCCuDDa special of Chang'e ADC. BaRRaCCuDDa plays this a lot in ranked.
just to highlight this for those people that don't know, just to like give reasoning behind why you would throw Chang'e to the ADC for BaRRaCCu. He, in the Challengers Cup semifinals, he played Zhang Kui ADC and Hades ADC, and he won those games.
Yeah, those were the 2 wins. Brought to it.
And knowing that he's this kind of person, he picks these off-kilter picks to kind of force the other team to adapt to it. He's going to be probably a strong mage here. I mean, it could also be maybe a tier ADC, but it seems more likely that he'll be taking a mage because that seems to be his preferred style.
Yeah, BaRRaCCuDDa with that Chang'e. Last pick was Amaterasu for Baskin here, as we're going to be cutting into game very, very shortly. But just a reminder, you can link your hi-rez accounts to your Twitch accounts in order to have a chance at getting some bonus rewards for yourselves. Already, we've given out over 100,000 gems, over 3,000 Odyssey chests, and over 100 Twitch Ymir skins. So, hey, why not sign yourself up to try and get some of that stuff as we're getting started with the game.
I would not be upset to get some of that. And as we go through it, we do see BaRRaCCuDDa is on this Chang'e, so it's going to be very interesting, I think is the only word that I could use to describe this, to see what he's going to pull out, just because the combination that he can have, he should be able to have some good setup, maybe decent lane clear, being a mage with Dingodile there. But he's still going up against Zapman on Jingwei, and that's always a frightening sight.
Yeah, something else to note, Dingodile on this Bacchus doesn't seem like that much of an off-kilter pick, but Dingodile is known for, in fact, almost exclusively plays Sobek. Love Sobek. I looked it up. He has like something like 450 hours logged on that character alone. So he's going to be forced to kind of play something that he's not really accustomed to playing here with this Bacchus. And I think that I don't know. I mean, I can't give any insight to how much pressure a Bacchus Chang'e lane could have. Really, it's not something you see every day of the week.
And Chang'e hasn't been favored a lot recently at all, no matter where you throw her. Every now and then you might see her, but she's just kind of a flavor pick. In this kind of setup, I think she's going to be sort of successful because of the anti-heal that she has, as well as Dingodile having that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're losing an ADC, you're losing that physical damage, that person who's going to be your tower killer, your tank killer, and just your high DPS from the backline in favor of someone who's not really a favored mage.
No, but you will get that sustain. You get the healing to kind of match up with Sylvanaus. A better in-battle healer, really. I mean, you see a lot of healers favored right now are kind of those more siege healer types of, okay, we fought, we didn't get anything, we got, XYZ, we didn't lose much. Let's just back up and heal. You have your Raws, you have your Sylvanauses, Terras. They're all siege healers. One, you kind of being the one exception. Chang'e's an in-combat healer. She'll be able to keep people nice and healthy during the engagements, during the fights. And that's going to be very, very valuable, as well as being able to shut down what Jix can bring a little bit with the healing, but Sylvanaus will still give those protections.
And now in the solo lane, Dante's having his work cut out for him going up against Baskin, who so far is kind of taking advantage of this. And like we mentioned, these are some of the top-tier pro players in this game on Team Ego. So having that, knowing that Dante is fighting into Baskin, he's got his work cut out for him, but so far he seems to be holding his own.
Yeah, Dante's been kind of hovering around that almost pro level, regarded by many to be one of the better, or many pros when you tune into streams and stuff, and, if Dante's in the game, we'll talk about him a little bit. And for a time, he was like, hey, this guy's really good. He's just never quite made it to the pro league. So we'll see how well he does against Bastion here. Does have Tyr, who has kind of become this more early game lane dominant character with the stance switch buff that he received, no longer having to put a point into it in order to switch stances. But Bastion so far on this Amaterasu has really been the one finding the most success.
And a couple other players in this game I think that me and you will recognize are Shadowchair and Panda Turtle, not only from like Challengers Cup, but from AVGL. We've seen these guys play a lot. And Shadowchair and Panda Turtle, I mean, both of them really have got some really good plays under their belt. They've been able to do things that are really surprisingly good. Like, it's not to like talk down about them, but when you see these kinds of teams, when you see people that just kind of form up, every now and then you're like, okay, so they have to get over that communication error. They have to get over that one hump that makes you, okay, we just put a band together and okay, now we're actually playing together. But Shadowchair, usually I think we've seen him on Yanis a lot. He's good with snipes, so having that Thoth, I feel like he's got a lot of potential for this game.
I thought that's really all about his ultimate, honestly. You can take very long engagements with that character with his 1 and with his 2 damage that he gets off of that, the assault, the evade and punish. But if you want to win those quicker team fights that seem to be favored right now, you need to hit that ultimate. You need to connect onto that ultimate. It also completely negates healing most of the time because you can't heal if you get one shot. So it is going to be a lot on Shadow Chair. And something else of note, when you play against a team like Team Ego, a lot of people might be a little bit intimidated. Slaughter Slugs, all of these players are very, very confident in themselves. Shadow Chair's Reddit Flare is #1 mid world. I mean, he's a very confident player. It's a good thing to have on your side when you play up against the likes of Team Ego.
Yeah, it's especially something you need just to kind of know that you're going into this with the mentality of, we can win this. A lot of teams, the trouble they have when they play against people like this, they come into it thinking, okay, well, these are pros, so we're just going to end up losing. They don't try their best. They end up falling behind very early on, and it's just a slow slope downward. And it kind of ruins your mood for the rest of the day. Whereas right here, it looks like Slaughter Slugs so far are playing with their hearts out. They're not doing anything too aggressive. They're not getting out of position. But right now, Team Ego is farming just a little bit better overall. They've raised up about 1,000 gold on them.
Yeah, a lot of control over those elementals, a little bit of extra control on some of the mid-harpy spawns. It's the little objectives, but honestly, the later that this game goes, the better it is for both teams. You want a team with a Chang'e and a Thoth on it to get to that endgame stage. And in the meantime, you want a team with a Scylla and a Jing and an Amaterasu to get over to the end game stage. As DingoDa is going to get ganked on L for love, as he's going to get pulled right on back into Zapman. Knockup not going to connect. Zap's looking for it. Going to go for the auto attacks. Nice stun coming out from BaRRaCCuDDa, but it's not enough. Homie FA going to grab it with the Brutalize.
And Homie FA is going to continue the aggression on BaRRaCCuDDa, but not going to go under the tower just yet. That, I thought for sure BaRRaCCuDDa's ult was going to be what saved DingoDa there. That stun came out at just the right time, but Zapman, using those purification, getting that aggressively just to get the kill, and it rewards him. He gets that first blood gold. I mean, he gets an assist, so he gets some of that gold, but either way, that's still a little bit of a lead, and when you're a Chang'e ADC, you don't want to fall behind Jingwei.
I think you're okay with it, though, if you're BaRRaCCuDDa. You have to understand that you're not going to win lane here as BaRRaCCuDDa on the Chang'e ADC. You know, the Jingwei, despite not having them, I mean, Jingwei's clear only can hit either unless you group all of them up in a small ball, it either hits the archers or it hits the melees. It's your decision. But better clear than Chang'e, because then after that, Jingwei has the auto attack. She has her 2, which gives her AoE autos. Baskin going to find the kill on the Dante Lafargo with a little bit of help from the dog.
These are the picks that Team Ego are going to, like, this is kind of how you see a lot of Smite games. You'll see 1 to 2 picks just on either side of the map to get 1, maybe 2 people ahead. Right now, Homie FA kind of having that lead, being credits with, he had the first blood, got the assist on that kill. Him slowly but surely taking himself ahead is putting Panda Turtle more behind him. Panda Turtle's going to have less of the impact.
Yeah, and also something else to note, as I was talking about, you know, the later the game goes, both the junglers picked are really picked junglers. Hold that thought. Zapman taking the 1v1 fight with BaRRaCCuDDa. He wants to go for this. It's going to be the stun out on Zapman. Bacchus jumps in. DingoDa hits the flop. Shadow Chair also here. BaRRaCCuDDa going to be the one rewarded. Zap's aggression ends up paying with his life.
Unfortunately, we can't spam solo, but that's still a really good play. Good rotation coming out from Slaughter. So you can spam it. It's just not completely true.
Chat, spam Zolod. Z-O-L-O-D. Do it.
With that rotation, though, they kind of opened up the right-hand side of the map. Mid-camps are coming up. Fire imps are coming up. The speed buff is up. And while I don't think the invade for the speed buff is going to come, that is some experience going to be taken away. All for Zap, which is kind of worth it overall. But I feel like already falling behind, Slaughter Slugs may have committed a little bit too much into that.
I don't think so. I think you got to find any. I mean, they didn't lose anything off of that. Is really the big key point there. Homie FA going to jump into the middle of 2 people, going to pick up Shadow Chair, beats, force. However, Shadow Chair, he's going to die to the dots before he can even get off an ultimate. DingoDa, he's going to fall next. Baskin going to be the one to find it with the dash, and Dante Lafargo has to run away from the might of 4 members of Team Ego.
And it looks like Team Ego is going to back away, though. They're going to split back up, go towards their lanes, farm up what is left. And Dante is going for the steal on the speed buff. I like this. The fact that he had to retreat that way anyway, might as well take what he can while he's there. He knows they're not following him because they have wards, so he caught the rotation back to mid. And he got a free back, so he just took the buff completely for free. Great
call coming out from Dante Lafargo there. And something I do want to note here that I'm seeing, Shadow Chair has gone for a Doom Orb onto Thoth. And Doom Orb, it's an item, it gives you a lot of power if you can get it stacked up, but you lose half the stacks when you die. And when you're going against Ego, and where you're, I don't like Doom Orb in general because mages are just not very safe characters historically, but when you're going against Team Ego, I don't know, and especially if they have a Fenrir, I don't think that going for that is the best idea. Panda Turtle, he's going to get jumped on and dotted down, but not enough to kill.
Dingo Dow going to get a stun onto Homie FA. We do have Shadow Chair showing up to get some DPS. Right now, it looks like Slaughter Slugs are just trying to back away. They will lose their blue buff because of it. And, I mean, like you had said, the Doom Orb, it's going to be good for his power. He's going to be able to hit harder, but that's only if he can stay alive with it. And when you're up against, especially when you're up against the best in the mid lane, this is an item that you should only buy if you absolutely believe you are going to be able to stay ahead.
Let's ignore best. No,
yeah, even ignoring that, like you're up against a Scylla.
You're up against let's ignore best. Let's ignore the Scylla because that's the mid lane mage on mage. You don't see a lot of those kind of 1v1 fights. There's a Fenrir. Fenrir's entire god design is really to kill off squishy targets, to put them in positions where they die, and you're going to go for a Doom Orb. It's a very risky call here. It could pay off huge. He could just end up getting ahead and be able, never really look back with it, or it could end up being really, really bad for Shadow Chair. So it's all going to come down to, I think, the next 5 minutes to see whether or not this Doom Orb pickup is going to, whether or not it's going to, which team it's going to snowball, I should say. Is it going to snowball Ego, or is it going to snowball for Slaughter Slugs?
And either way, one team will find themselves at an advantage. And right now, Team Ego still holds an advantage. They're sitting at about 2,700. Homie Faye is making a rotation over. It doesn't look like they're going to go in here. Zapman going to try to back. And I thought BaRRaCCuDDa was going to try to stop it, but he just gave up towards the end there. Going to go back to clearing. A lot of ward fights going on around the Gold Fury, clearing out whatever you can. And looks like Ego is just having this positioning. They want to get aggressive. I can almost feel the fact that they're holding themselves back.
Yeah, Ego want to fight in this early game right now. They have the Fenrir pick, and Awilix hasn't really done anything up to this point, which is kind of surprising. You pick Awilix mostly for picks, and she hasn't really been able to get any of that. But Fenrir, he's been able to find himself a couple picks here, and that's what once again, that's what you want with this character, especially with Homie FA piloting it. You want to get Homie ahead.
Highlighting the fact that Awilix hasn't done anything. You mentioned earlier that, Jing Wei has to knock herself up in order to get that one attack speed buff or to get a longer dash. And Panda Turtle hasn't even really looked at the left-hand lane. He hasn't even gone over towards Zapman. And I feel like that's where they'd be most beneficial because you'll have Dingo Dial over there to knock people up as well. So ultimately, I feel like just some of the jungle rotations, I understand why he's trying to hover over on the right-hand side and, go through, get all the buffs. But ultimately, I feel like he's missing out.
Yeah, and also something to know, hold that thought, Homie FA jumped in, not going to connect on it, but something to know is Zapman is the only death right now for Team Ego. No surprise, Zapman feeds. But on that rotation made, the Awilix wasn't even there. Panda Turtle was not at that kill. It was Thoth and it was Bacchus. It was not the Awilix. So I think right now Panda Turtle's kind of playing like, I'm going to farm up and I'm going to get to the end game. But once you get to the end game, it's actually a much harder time. Ego, they're going to get the Gold Fury very, very quickly.
Dingo going to get taken down. Homie Faye going to be able to pick up Dante, and that's going to be his death as best. Gets it with I'm a Monster, but Homie Faye gets a return death from BaRRaCCuDDa, throwing out that stun. Panda Turtle doing his best to stay alive and get out. Zapman, though, looking for blood. He's going to turn his eyes onto Shadow Chair.
Shadow Chair brought down low. A few more auto attacks. BaRRaCCuDDa will find Jig. Zapman gonna get it thanks to the RNGs. This crit. It will be Panda Turtle outboxing Zapman in the meantime. Best now gonna be the one who goes in. He's gonna look for the crush and he will kill Panda Turtle. BaRRaCCuDDa chasing down Best, but Best just gonna run away. Does not want anything more. A Gold Fury and 3 kills going in the favor of Ego, but Slaughter Slugs, they do answer back with 3 kills of their own. In large part thanks to a 4-man ultimate that was hit by BaRRaCCuDDa in that fight.
Yeah, BaRRaCCuDDa was able to turn that entire engagement around, so taking all the just kind of deficits, he actually gets destroyed by the crush!
What? Best is okay, I didn't think that was going to do that much damage, but Best just absolutely erases BaRRaCCuDDa thanks to that crush right now. Has the Dynasty, has the Pen Boots, already had the Soul Trap. Best was calculated exactly as Best planned it.
That, I mean, the same thing was going through my head. There's no way BaRRaCCuDDa was going to die from that. We were still talking. Like, I was just like, okay, Crush is coming out. He's going to get low. He's just going to immune it because he's Changa and walk away.
Or he'll just not die.
Yeah, like, and Best is just, I mean, that just shows, like, Best had his faith. He knows how much damage he had. I'm assuming that part of that was that Soul Stone that he's been building up. As Panda Turtle going deep, a nice knockup going to come through, but Homie Faye going to jump over the wall. Baskin, a little bit too tanky. Even though there are 3 members here, they're actually running from him.
Yeah, Baskin's level 15 right now. The highest level on their side is level 12. He's going to just keep on going in. Best has made the rotation, and as we have just learned, Best does a tremendous amount of damage. level 15 Scylla. That has got to be a huge part as to why that did so much. I mean, that is a huge part. I didn't realize the level disparity. I mean, it was only a level, but once Scylla hits that level 15 mark, I mean, she's already been swinging, and man, I still didn't expect that. I'm still very confused as to where that just came from.
That's just to show, you know, even though they tried to ban out the best as much as they could, Slaughter Slugs letting that Scylla through. I honestly think I would have preferred to see Zeus get through instead of Scylla, but really with the best, it's up in the air. No matter what you try to take out, he's a strong mid lane mage player.
Ooh, BaRRaCCuDDa might be in some trouble here. Zapman going in deep, immunity already down. Look for the auto attack. Is going to be Homie. No, Zapman actually going to get the final kill there. BaRRaCCuDDa gets brought down while he won't get officially a credit for a solo kill. Homie didn't really do anything. Zapman returns Benny's earlier solo with his own.
DingleDao looking a little bit out of place now. He is in his own jungle, but there are 4 members rotating over. Can't defend this red buff. He's ultimately going to lose this. And this is kind of the turning point right now. Team Ego have had a lead, but with all of the engagements, they've kind of returned back. They're holding back the team fight portion, going back into these picks, get whatever kills you can across the board. BaRRaCCuDDa, he's a relatively easy target. The only thing Chang'e has really to escape is either throw out her ult and get a big stun, or use that immunity. And once it's down, you can just commit.
Dante might be in a little bit of trouble over on the solo side. Best has made the rotation, is kind of looking to stop him out. Dante so far holding on to his ultimate, just kind of waiting everything out. Best also holding on to his root, going to throw it out, not going to connect. There's the ultimate coming out from Dante. However, the stun will connect, and I'm a Monster going to bring him down. Best going to use the other shot of I'm a Monster to go ahead and clear out some creeps there. 4-man rotation proves to be fruitful. Zapman might find himself in a little bit of trouble, but no, just going to Sanctuary out the damage and turn it back around. Gets sunned out. Might actually fall here. He's going to get pulled back in and brought down. BaRRaCCuDDa, Zolo's in chat, everybody.
I was looking at Panda Turtle because I was like, okay, they're going for the aggression on Zapman. How's his ultimate? Right as he used it, it had literally just come off cooldown.
Oh, really?
Like, it was still ticking down when they started that fight. Right as Zapman knocked himself up, Panda Turtle got it and was able to ult him out. So it was just like the perfect timing for that ability. And taking Zap down, I mean, like you had said earlier, Zap really the one on their team with the most deaths. He's sitting at 3. The rest of his team maybe 1, mostly 0 though. And it's not anything really bad because Jing Wei, once he respawns, he's going to be able to get back to the lane, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and but the Zapman does have a level lead right now, which means that his respawn timers, they're going to take a while. So kind of there's finally starting to put some of the pressure around the map. Hopefully it's not too little too late for the Slaughter Slugs, though. They're getting out pressure. I mean, Ego is rotating 4 people to kill 1 person, and Slaughter Slugs is rotating 2 to kill 1 person. So overall, it can end up working out better for the Slugs, but they just really need to put their head down and hang in there. Unfortunately for them, going to the graphs, it's a 6,500 gold lead and an almost 11,000 experience lead for Ego. Very, very slowly over time, just grinding it out.
And it hasn't felt like Ego, except for the one fight around the Gold Fairy where we saw 6 deaths and a Gold Fairy. Zapman once again going to get stunned out, rooted down, and they're trying to get away, but Panda Turtle's going to be the one who gets turned on as Zapman using his ult to confirm that one.
The knock up was perfectly placed from Zapman. Panda Turtle flipped over and landed on top of the knock up, went up, and that was it. And then Homie FA started up the brutalize. Just no way out. DingleDao going to get pulled away from the boars. Jigs asserting dominance here. Ego looking to assert dominance over this Gold Fury right now. They're going to try and bring it down. And Thoth ult is available. Going to look to shoot it off. However, steps in front of the glyph. Doesn't go far enough. Ego, they're going to get the Gold Fury. DingleDao also going to fall there. Best, he's on a rampage. He's going to drop down the ultimate one more time. Go looking over at Shadow Chair. Not going to connect it, though. Who now is forced to run away from Baskin.
And with 5 members chasing you down, Amaterasu all going to come through and confirm the kill, and that is going to be Ego being able to turn around at least to get a tier 1 tower, if not push further. Dante on the right-hand side of the map did finally push down the solo tier 1, so he's going to be able to kind of get a little bit of return gold. But right now, Slaughter Slugs, they're slipping down a slope, and it's just not looking good.
Yeah, it's getting rougher and rougher for them. Panda Turtle actually going to blink in, go on Zapman. Sanctuary comes up just in time. BaRRaCCuDDa, does he have an ultimate available? No, he does not. Waiting it out. Root going to connect from Best. Zapman will live as a result of it. Nice sickum coming out from Best just to keep his ADC alive. Pull, not going to connect from Jigs, immuned out by BaRRaCCuDDa. And Ego, they're still looking to play aggressively.
Right now, Best has a full Soul Reaver online. It actually procced the last time he was in a fight. He's sitting at 5-0-2. He has a huge target painted on his back, but the rest of Ego has been very good at controlling anyone on Slaughter Slugs. No one's been able to touch him. He's sat at pretty much full health every engagement.
I like saying that, you know, Best may not be, people may not think of Best as the best mid laner in the world. They might think, you know, give that title over to Yemen or somebody like that. But to me, Best is the best mage player in the world, where he's just going to sit in the back, he's not going to die, and he's going to wait for the setup and hit all of his abilities. He's a very patient player and a very smart player, and that's really coming through in this game. 5-0-2 hasn't gone for a raw initial shot of I'm a Monster. Hasn't just been like, I'm going to freehand this one, and he's not going to do it now. Shadow Chair gets dropped by the Best. He's going to drop another one. Panda gets hit, and Best with the double kill.
That was going to be just another example of how well these teams are playing together. Jiggs, Baskin, and Best all using the CC and their damage just appropriately to pick up everything they need to there. And they could keep this aggression up. They have Baskin and Homie FA here now rotating in. Zapman's on the other side of the map, but with Baskin using his ultimate, Benny Q's going to get out of there, but Dingo Dial's low. Benny Q not going to run too far away as Homie FA picks him up.
And something else to note there about that Best ultimate, that was a Wrath stun. I was wondering what set it up. Baskin walked in and stunned with a Wrath, and Best just trusted him. I mean, Frey was talking about it earlier. You know, when you see teams form together, you're kind of questioning their level of synergy, how well they're going to play together. And Dante, actually, he's going to get dropped in the jungle by Homie Fa. But Best is putting his full faith in Baskin to just use that Wrath stun when he needed to. When he needed it to come out. Best is, their egos trusting each other right now, and it's a little bit too much for Slaughter Slugs to be fighting into at this exact moment in time.
A 5-man push down the right-hand lane. Looks like it should result in a Phoenix. We do have Slaughter Slugs rotating over, but I don't think they have enough damage among the three of them to do anything. Panda Turtle going to blink into the backline, but gets caught out immediately. Does find Best. Best going to fall for the first time in the game, but Panda Turtle pays for it with his life.
And Shadow Chair running away, gets hit by several crits, will make it out. Dingo Dial might not be quite so fortunate. Knocked up, stunned out. Baskin looking for it. He's trying to get it with an auto attack, but Benny Q will keep him alive. Baskin going to take a little bit of fountain damage, but he will be able to just dash out A-OK. Zapman now going to group up with everybody else. Heals coming out from Jiggs. And just out of curiosity, taking a look over at the player healing chart, Jiggs, 9k healing right now. Benny Q with only 2,500 player healing for Benny Q so far. So it really has been Jiggs making those huge impact with his heals.
Jiggs, though, looking like he may get caught out using Wrath of Terror to get a 3-man knockup. Dante in a very poor position. He is going to be able to fear this possibly all the way out, but Zapman going to use that ult to pick that kill up and stop any real retreat from Slaughter Slugs. As they're the ones who are aggressing, they chase down Team Ego, and now they've had 2 members fall, and possibly 3 as another one gets pulled back right into them.
Yeah, Zapman still looking aggressive, not going to dash away. That's not something you see too often there. And that was two frontliners and Zapman. I want to take a brief look on over. Yeah, Shell was used. There's no Lotus Crown quite yet available. However, it was almost impossible. Panda Turtle, he's now going to go in. He's going to get blown up immediately by Baskin. To steal a line from F. One by one, the ants go marching. Hoorah, hoorah. They're all just walking a Shadow Chair. Speaking of, you're not going to get away from Homie FA. The dog's going to jump and get his bone. Shadow Chair will fall next.
That is a deicide. That is free pickings for anything Ego wants to do. Gold Fury is going to be spawning back in about 10 seconds. Fire Giant is up. They have fire minions pouring down. There's 2 people to defend, so I don't see them going for the Titan. But the map is theirs to play with. They can do whatever they want. And right now, Homie Faye taking advantage of that and clearing out as many buffs as he can.
Baskin has 3 movement speed items apart from boots. He has 4 movement speed items in this kitty. He has a Heartseeker, a Wingblade, and a Ritual Dagger. With his speed aura, he was at 571 move speed. I just very briefly took a lot. That's a really fast Amaterasu. And there's no getting away from that.
And accompanying the fact that he has a dash to chase you down even further, like, even if you're able to separate and cause some distance between the 2 of you, he's going to chase you down. And so far, that's been kind of the story. Every time he shows up, he gets in, he uses his ult, stuns out as many people as he can, and wipes them off the board. As Gold Fury gets taken on one side, on the other side, Zapman confirms down the Fire Giant. So both big objectives taken down, and for Team Ego here. Now they're going to be pushing down a tier 2 on left, and that's every single tower. This base is under siege.
Yeah, this base is so incredibly vulnerable right now, especially considering there's also a Phoenix down. So that's something else that Slaughter Slugs have to worry about here. Pushing forward is going to be Shadow Chair, but yeah, they're not going to be able. They need to fight on their Phoenixes right now if they have any shot at winning it. BaRRaCCuDDa has to get off a big ult to set up Shadow Chair for a big ult here. That's their key to victory right now because there's nothing else that they can do. It's actually going to be Panda Turtle blinking in, and Shadow Chair charged up the ultimate, thinks better of it. Baskin going to go in. He's looking for Panda Turtle, and Panda Turtle, as we said, you just can't get away from Baskin right now. Wrath stun Shadow Chair. He's in a really bad situation. Baskin is chasing him down, and his ultimate's getting charged up, but it'll be Zapman to claim the last auto.
And they're going to continue this aggression. BaRRaCCuDDa getting low, but the fountain is right there. Dingodile may fall beforehand, and he will. Homifei taking a huge chunk of his health from stepping too far and going into that fountain, but now the Titan is open and exposed. There are two members, and one of them's a healer, so they have a little bit of an advantage, but BaRRaCCuDDa just not doing quite enough. I'm a monster, not going to hit, but it does zone enough for the team to continue and kill off the Titan.
Somewhat unsurprisingly and definitely very, very convincingly, Team Ego, they're going to be moving on. It was a good early game for Slaughter Slugs, but once Ego just found those picks, there was nothing that Slaughter Slugs could end up doing. They're going to move on, and the favorites of, well, Eager is actually Zapman's brand, so technically speaking, in his own tournament, Zapman is, he's going to be pushing forward here. What a scumlord.
And, you know, it's not too terribly surprising to see him go forward. I mean, just looking at the team, you know, Zapman and Best have played together a lot, and not even including ranked. Like, if you just look at them playing in Pro League and in tournaments, Zapman and Best used to be on the same team together, like, for a huge chunk of time before things kind of got swapped up. Zapman and Jig's Q ranked together almost all the time. And for that mode, like, I mean, Homifei, Baskin, like, the synergy for Ego is just very, very strong.
Yeah, pretty much all of these players, at least, so you have Homie FA, Jigs, and Baskin used to be on a team together. They were on SOAR before Homie FA went somewhere else. And then you have Zapman and Best on a team. Zapky's ranked with Jigs all the time. A lot of synergy for this team, and there was a lot of trust being shown off. It definitely has to be one of your favorites looking at moving forward in the tournament, though we've seen other upsets happen in Europe. You know, Leftovers, they weren't the team that everybody was going to pick to win, but they ended up being the team that won it. So we'll see whether or not the heavy favorites of Team Ego or if it's going to be another upset to come in later rounds.
That's going to be very interesting to see as we move forward. And right now, though, one thing that people should be aware of going forward, because we do still have at least 3 more rounds, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. Link up your Twitch account with your hi-rez account. Doing that enables you to have a chance at getting some rewards in the game while you are watching the tournament, so it's definitely worth doing it. And when it comes down over it, we gave out a lot yesterday, looking to give out a lot more today. And another thing that we want to do is thank out hi-rez and thanks to Eager. And definitely check out the Eager store. They have a lot of really cool merch. They have some jerseys you can get custom with your name on the back. They look very, very good. A lot of the other stuff, like, I mean, the Eager brand, like, the logo just looks really good.
Yeah, the Eager logo is great. Ego, of course, the play off of Eager. TeamEagerStore.com. However, that is going to do it for this particular round. Also going to do it for me for the day. I'll be handing over the reins entirely over to Gore, Freight, and Aggro. So hope everybody enjoys the rest of the tournament. Take care.